WellBridge specializes in post-acute rehab and nursing care designed to provide a bridge to recovery and wellness. Check out the website at www.thewellbridgegroup.com. And the WellBridge Group is all one word, or call 517-375-5363. Welcome back, guys. Glad you could join us.
Well, thank you for the invite.
We're just sitting here talking, and I was just stating that as much as I don't like Hillary, I'm not sure.
Unacceptable. She's unacceptable.
Totally unacceptable.
We've known that for years. We've stated that clearly.
Yep. My biggest problem right now, and I will sit here and state my one vote is not going to make a huge difference in the grander scheme of things, okay? But I will state that we need to be able to trust who's going in there, right? Can we say that much?
Yeah. I would think that trust is built on the person's character, and that's, I think, the big foundation of this discussion.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I think character is important. We need to elect a person with character, not elect a character with personality.
Yeah. Well, we've become a nation that's addicted to entertainment, sound bites, slogans, reality shows, and it's reflected in this election cycle like never before.
I'm still, and I'm not going to say the young man's name. But he's not the only person I've run across that who's willing to totally throw his ideas out the window to support it. I'm going to put you on the hot block here, Phil. You know, yeah. I love you. You know, I consider you a dear friend. We'll burn you at the stake after the show. But you know, better a hot steak than a cold chop, right?
All right.
So, yeah. But with that in mind, we were talking during the break, and you came up with the idea as well. You know, if we get Trump in and he's elected, we have to hold his feet to the fire, and we have to babysit him.
Yeah. With a team. We're going to have this elite team around him. And so when I hear something like that, you're taking away the argument that Trump is this great candidate because you're saying he has to be babysat by people who know what they're doing and what they're talking about and will stick to conservative principles and have experience. So it's like, okay, that takes away from the largely the idea that Trump is the guy. And all right, I'm gonna shut up because I could go on probably the rest of the half hour.
No, you're exactly on the right thing. He has to prove to the people because of the
and he's
fact
not done that through the primary. If people say Trump tells it like it is, well, he flip flops so much that on any given day you don't know what the answer is going to be.
Yeah. But again, like you said, that we need to make sure that we do hold his feet to the fire. Again, I know that you said, well, I don't want another lesser of two evils, but I would rather babysit Trump than to fight another 8 years like we fought with Obama. I mean, this guy has beat the living daylights out of this Congress. I mean, he just smacked them around like nothing.
But and correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't want to base anything on rumor. Mm-hmm. Okay, and sometimes I start getting with everything I hear on the news and then reading on Facebook and everything else. Rumor starts getting skewed with reality, and I understand that. But didn't Cruz come out and say didn't Trump come out and say that he really appreciated basically all these executive orders that Obama's been signing? Because once he gets in, he'll be doing so much more of it.
He's going to ramp it up.
Well. It might be that you have to do that to get rid of the ones that he's put in.
Well, no, to get rid of the ones he put in, what you do is you rip them up.
Yeah.
You don't sign new ones, you just rip up the old ones.
Well, but what about the claim that the system prevents one from violating the Constitution? And so, on the one hand, that's applied toward Trump, but that same logic, by people throwing that logic out there, are not saying it's the same system that prevents Obama from violating the Constitution.
Made it very clear.
He's violated that.
Right.
So he's torn it up.
So the system will not prevent a president from violating because we have that proof through Obama. And like Pastor Rick said, Trump has even said not only will he do the same thing, but he'll take it up a notch.
Yeah.
So here's my question on this: is our founding fathers were very correct in their statement that our Constitution will only work if you have a moral religious
and virtuous,
society.
Yeah.
Why? Because without that moral morality, that Constitution can be abused.
But what I have to look
at that's the concern that Drake's bringing up here. What's going to stop him?
I'm going to say that
I'm looking at his example that he set with how he raised his family. Right. That goes a long way with me.
Trump.
Yeah,
raising his family. Yeah, I bet he had nannies, and I bet he dropped in once in a while just to say, "Don't do drugs, don't do alcohol." Okay, I'm out of here.
I actually won't jump on the speculation bandwagon on that because I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Well, I think that they are a beautiful family. I think that they present themselves well, and they've got the right.
Well, it's the same thing. He's got the prettiest family money can buy.
Yeah, could be.
I wanted to clarify my stance. I'm sounding very critical of Trump right now, and I think that there's a lot of criticism to be levied based on not my opinion, but based on fact of what Trump has said over these past few months. I'm not a never Trumper. However, if I'm going to vote for Trump, it doesn't mean that I can't critique and comment.
I agree.
My brain has not dissolved into this cult-like status where I can't criticize the man because, number one, that's what America is about. We're supposed to be able to
speak out. And that's exactly what I was saying before we went to break is that people that are supporting Trump cannot throw away their ideals just because they're supporting a candidate. Matter of fact, they should be standing stronger on their ideals, stronger on their principles, to at least hold their candidate accountable.
But are we in agreement that you could not... but you could not disagree with Obama. If you did, you were classified as a racist, or you were, in my case, I was Uncle Tom. I hated my own self, because I disagreed with them.
Yeah, but if you disagree with Trump, you're going to give the election to Hillary. It's like you personally are going to be the one that throws the election to Hillary. That's the attack that you receive for critiquing him.
But what happens if he wins? You can criticize him all the way. That's the point of babysitting him I'm talking about.
Like we have with Rick Snyder?
You see, you guys...
I heard nonstop that we were going to pull the R lever, and we were going to hold his feet in the fire. We're going to hold him accountable, and it's been nothing of that case.
All right.
And I agree 100% with
I normally don't divulge who I'm going to vote for.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, I can't vote for Trump, but I'm not going to vote for Hillary. I'm going to write in Theron, all right? I know that he fears God. I know that he is just as able as any of the other two candidates running right now to do the job.
Yeah.
And so, but he's honest. So I'm going to write in Theron. So if everyone else in this country doesn't jump on my bandwagon and vote for Theron,
they're voting for Hillary.
Here's an example of a staunch supporter of Trump, Laura Ingraham. For weeks, months, she's been going on about Trump this and Trump that. That's her passion. All right, I heard her say, I believe it was last week. She said, it was sometime last week. She said, Trump needs to stop with the insults. They're not helpful. Yep. Stop with the slogans. He needs to come up. He's void of substance. He needs to come up with specifics, details. And I'm thinking to myself, and Mark Davis was even worse on this, saying basically the same thing, but even more bizarre. Supporters of Trump, and now coming out with he needs to come up with something. Mark Davis said Trump needs to sit down and figure out what he's about and how to say it. It's a little late. I would think if you're supporting Trump that you would have probably had a little more basis of support for him along the way. Those are the words of supporters. He needs to figure out what he's about.
Well, with that in mind, I want to kind of blame everything that we're going through in the political system right now. I'm going to find the very simple scapegoat. I'm going to blame it on the educational system. All right?
Good point.
I wanted to talk about this a little bit as we got into it. What are we missing today from our educational system? We no longer teach our kids to think. We teach them to be followers, not leaders. That our whole educational system is designed around creating followers.
And they don't have to write anymore because they can tweet.
They can tweet.
With symbols.
Tweeting and symbols are becoming the new evolution in communication. If you look at the communication through the history of mankind, it started out with paint drawings on walls, and then went into hieroglyphics, and then into consonantal language, and it developed, and we're coming around full circle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
back to little symbols that we're trying to decipher. Yeah. And our kids are not taught to communicate well. They're not taught how to argue. And now I'm not talking argue like you would argue with your parents as a kid. They're not taught how to make a claim and support it.
Yeah.
Because if you teach a child early on how to make a claim and support it,
Like Trump?
well, then they start having opinions that they're going to sit there and be able to come up with an idea and think logically, do I have a leg to stand on to have this opinion? And they start thinking. Now, when you get kids start to actually think, now you're creating leaders. And this country, this educational system, doesn't want to create leaders. It wants to create followers.
And you can see it. I mean, if anybody would follow Bernie Sanders, we have lost the country completely. If they are serious about putting this man in as the president, and I indeed believe they are.
In the New York primary, I believe people 35 years and younger, it was like 70% that voted for Bernie.
Yeah.
So what does that tell you about the future of our country?
Oh man, we are lost.
I was talking to a young art student. I was telling Ed this earlier before the show. From speaking of art, I was talking to him, and I was telling about this art student I talked to, and they're really not taught about getting behind what was in the artist's mind when they created the painting or the sculpture or the book. They're not trying to get into the mind of the artist to develop it, to see where they're at and what was the statement being made by the artist, and what was the artist going through to make that statement. In other words, how was he supporting that statement? They're not taught how to think critically anymore. And when I came over here, I went to school in Canada. My father moved us to Canada when I was a young man. I grew up in Canada, but I went to school to... I actually went to a private school because, well, we found out that the schools over there were much more liberal than over here in what they were teaching. So he put us into the best education he could afford working at Ford's. Mm-hmm. And but we learned things like logic. How many kids take logic in high school today? How many kids take rhetoric in high school? Matter of fact, you ask most people what rhetoric is, and they'll give you a negative connotation of the word, rather than it's making a claim and being able to support it.
Didn't they teach that at Trump University?
I don't know.
Lying Ted.
If they did,
Low lying crooked Hillary.
It wasn't accredited.
Yeah.
but you know, Aristotle, who came up with the principle of rhetoric, thought everyone should be trained in rhetoric, and not just the politicians. So we got a call on line one. Let's see what Todd has to say on line one. And Todd, if I hang up on you because I'm new at this board, call back. Are you there, Todd?
Hello. You did not hang up on me.
Oh, I'm feeling a little bit more technologically involved now.
But he may yet. We shall see.
Oh, well, put your hands up. And here. Anyway, hey, you guys would be proud of my wife. She's a school teacher in a public school district, and she figures out how within the curriculum that she's mandated to teach how to build leaders and build these argumentative letters of sorts that you just talked about through our experiences and our sample letters that we have built over the years to build an argument, to say why we think you might be wrong or why you should do it better. And these kids, boy, they light up and they are having a good time. And they're like 5th, 6th grade.
Well, first of all, I want to say bless your wife for doing that because more and more we have teachers finding it more important to stick with the curriculum to keep a job than it is to actually educate the children. So first of all, I want to say thank you to your wife for taking the time and the care to actually educate and teach the children to be critical thinkers.
Yeah, she still teaches cursive to them, and they don't want to. Wow. But she says, put your phones down and be quiet. This is what you're doing.
Yep.
Wow, that's great.
Well, most English teachers now are teaching their children to write in emojis.
No. It's funny. These kids ask her all the time, why do I need to know how to do this? And I always like to use the argument because I can't wait for the day when technology implodes and we have to go back.
Yeah.
So you want that EMP?
Well,
I just want technology to go to stop being such a focal point.
Right.
Imploding to me is as long as if it fizzles out and goes away and we go back to the old style. You you and I will be so far ahead of these other
Well,
people.
let me tell you, as far as technology goes, I was proud of myself for being able to answer this phone.
Todd, I think kind of along the lines of your wife teaching these kids and them asking the question, why do I have to learn this? I remember when I was in high school taking Spanish, and the Spanish teacher more than once would say to us, you have to learn the rules before you can break them. In this learning the Spanish language. So you're not going to learn these little shortcuts and slang and everything. You have to